Thought I'd get out for a walk while I muse about CrackerGate, which is suddenly turned kind of nasty. Well, I suppose it was pretty nasty at the beginning. I mean, when you consider that a student's life has been threatened. But now the, how shall we term this? World-renowned Catholic bigot and earth-shattering homophobe Bill O'Donoghue has got in on the act. And his contribution has been to threaten PZ Myers, one of the first bloggers to bring this whole sorry episode to everyone's attention. There seems to be a fundamental misunderstanding here between people's right to believe whatever deluded fuckwittery they choose to believe and their right not to have that fuckwittery questioned. So, for example, I can respect Bill Donoghue's right to believe the absurdity of transubstantiation. But I'm under no obligation to believe that shit. And PZ Myers is under no obligation to believe that shit. And none of us are under any obligation to refrain from criticizing something that is so obviously nonsensical. If you believe that the host is the body of Christ, and you eat it, you're a fucking cannibal. I mean, really, on pure grounds of good taste alone, the Catholic Mass, the concept, the idea is utterly repellent. The idea of eating the flesh and drinking the blood of another human being in some ritual. Come on. These guys have the gall to criticize PZ Myers for merely pointing this out. It seems clear to me that there is a clash of civilizations going on. But the clash is not along the fault lines of Christianity and Islam. The clash is along the fault lines of rationality and irrationality. And it just so happens that Christianity is somewhat less irrational generally, although in this particular case clearly not all the time, is somewhat less irrational than Islam. And so sometimes we're kind of lulled into the idea that the clash is about Christianity and Islam. It's not. Right now, we have an absurd situation where men with guns are protecting crackers. And Bill O'Donoghue is threatening professors for things that they've said about those crackers. And where a student's life is being threatened and is under threat because of a cracker. And that, let's face it, is absolutely crackers. Oh yes. I said it. I've been dying to say that since I started this whole thing. I do have a suggestion for Professor Myers. What he should do is get hold of a truckload of pre-consecrated hosts, hosts that have been blessed by a priest, and then make himself a suit of armor from those hosts. See where I'm going with this? If he makes himself a suit of armor from consecrated hosts, no Catholic will be able to touch him. What strikes me as craziest about this whole affair is the idea that a kid, or a student, who takes a host, puts it in a Ziploc bag, and puts it in his pocket, is abusing the host. But your average Catholic who puts it in his mouth, chews it, eats it, digests it, and shits it out, is not abusing the host? I mean, that sounds pretty abusive to me, I gotta say. I mean, if I had to choose between between being put in a Ziploc bag and eaten and shit out, I think I'd go for the Ziploc bag. You could, of course, be smothered in the Ziploc bag. I mean, I suppose that would be an issue. You know, so Jesus is in the Ziploc bag. He's in the host. He's trapped, like those guys in the Superman movie who were in the spinning mirrors that they fired off into space. You know, trapped, flat, screaming, "Let me out! Oh my God! I gotta get out of here! I can't breathe!" But hang on a second. Hang on a second. Isn't this guy the most powerful entity in the universe? Yes, this guy is the most powerful entity in the universe. He's also omnipresent. So, strictly speaking, God was already in the Ziploc bag before the student put the host in the bag, because God is everywhere, right? So God was already in the bag. So what's the big deal? God was in the bag. Huh? The religious mind, and I can attest to this from my own experience, is and must be heavily compartmentalized. It would be quite impossible to maintain so many conflicting ideas simultaneously. The official term is cognitive dissonance. Because on the one hand, God is all-powerful, he's the prime entity, the prime mover, the greatest creature in the universe. He's also Jesus, but who is actually God? And yet, oh no, I'm the creator of the universe, but I'm stuck in a Ziploc bag, and I can't breathe, help! One of the biggest difficulties that Christianity has, and of course that religions generally have, is determining which religion is the true religion, which one is the right one. And this is a massive problem, because it's been 2,000 years of Christianity, 1,400 years of Islam, and these guys can't convince each other about the relative merits of one particular system of Christianity or one particular system of Islam. 8 years of Bush has accomplished one good thing, and I'm amazed to hear myself saying it. It has unleashed a wave of secular, anti-religious sentiment. People like myself, who even used to be religious, quite religious, ex-missionary, are literally sick to death of being told what we can and can't say by religious people. We're not threatening you. We're not saying we want to kill you. All we're saying is the stuff that you believe, it's bullshit. And we're willing to tell you exactly why it's bullshit. And religious people of every stripe, Muslim, Christian, Hindu, whatever, need to suck it up. And there is a very practical reason why you should be willing to suck it up. And it is this. Secular society is the only society that will guarantee your right to believe and act on the bullshit you currently believe. If you're a Hindu and there's a Muslim theocracy, rest assured, they won't let you believe what you want to believe. But we secularists, you can believe whatever shit you like. We couldn't care less. Just don't try and make us believe it, because then there's going to be trouble. And more startling and spectacular still, if you're a Catholic and there's some kind of evangelical theocracy, rest assured, they won't let you believe what you want to believe. And they'll be the first that'll be in there knocking people on the head, preventing them from engaging in the ritualistic cannibalism which is so central to Catholic belief. As long as the religious aren't eating real people, or fucking altar boys, or sacrificing babies, secular society will be pretty lenient and comfortable with whatever crazy shit they get up to, or whatever crazy shit they want to believe. But rest assured, your co-religionists are not going to be that understanding. So will Bill O'Donoghue wise up and back off? I don't know. But it's certain that at the moment, the only entity that is being damaged by his petulant tantrums is the Catholic Church. Because transubstantiation is not the bridge you want to die trying to defend. Even the Trinity makes more sense than that thing.